The Galactic Assembly's central chamber stretched higher than Earth's tallest skyscrapers, its crystalline walls reflecting the light of three suns. Ambassador Michael Chen straightened his collar as he led the first human delegation through doors that dwarfed their transport vessel. The delegates behind him tried to maintain their composure, but their wide eyes betrayed their awe at the architectural marvels surrounding them. Thousands of alien representatives filled the chamber's curved tiers, their diverse forms creating a living tapestry of galactic civilization. Some floated in containment fields, others stood on specialized platforms, and a few existed as pure energy within crystalline matrices. Yet, despite their varied appearances, they shared one common trait, an unmistakable tension that seemed to permeate the very air. Representatives from Sol System, Earth, announced a melodious voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. You may approach the central podium. As they walked forward, Michael noticed something odd. The other species weren't just watching them. They were studying them with an intensity that went beyond mere curiosity. He caught whispers in translated frequencies. They came in their own ship, no escort. How did they resist? The central podium rose before them, where the Galactic Assembly's Leadership Council presided. 5 beings of different species sat in ornate chairs, but one seat remained conspicuously empty. Before Michael could ponder its significance, a shimmer of dark energy materialized in the vacant position. The form that appeared caused several nearby delegates to flinch. A Vraxian overseer, its chrome-plated exoskeleton gleaming under the chamber's lights, regarded the human delegation with 4 independently moving optical sensors. Its voice emerged as a harmonious blend of mechanical precision and organic warmth. Earth's emergence into our galactic community is unexpected, the overseer stated. Your system lies within Territory 7, yet our inspection fleets report no contact. Michael stepped forward, maintaining eye contact with the Vraxian's primary sensors. We developed our faster-than-light technology independently, Overseer. We were unaware of any territorial claims to our system. A ripple of murmurs spread through the chamber. Independent FTL development was rare enough, but to do so without attracting Vraxian attention was unprecedented. The Overseer's optical sensors contracted slightly. Fascinating. And during your journey here, you encountered no difficulties? No sensations of disorientation or distress. Our journey was smooth, Michael replied, noting how the other council members seemed to lean forward at his response. Though we did detect some unusual energy signatures in nearby systems. The Vraxian's secondary arms twitched, a gesture that Michael's neural translator marked as significant but couldn't interpret. You will find, Ambassador Chen, that the Dominion maintains order through various means. These energy signatures are part of our peacekeeping protocols. The way the other delegates tensed at the word peacekeeping told Michael volumes. His diplomatic training kicked in, recognizing the subtle signs of systemic oppression. The Vraxians weren't just maintaining order, they were enforcing it through fear. We look forward to learning more about these protocols, Michael said carefully, and sharing our own perspectives on peaceful coexistence. The meeting concluded with formal pleasantries, but as the human delegation departed, they carried with them more than just diplomatic credentials. Hidden within their neural recorders was evidence of the Vraxian's true control mechanism, the fear-inducing energy waves that kept entire species in check. Back aboard their ship, Dr. Emily Santos, the delegation's scientific advisor, began analyzing the data. These energy patterns, she observed, bringing up a holographic display, they're designed to interact with specific neural pathways. But look at our own brain scans during exposure. The effect is barely registerable. Michael watched the comparative readings with growing understanding. They had stumbled upon something momentous: humanity's apparent immunity to the Vraxian's primary method of control. As their ship prepared to return to Earth, he couldn't shake the feeling that this discovery would change everything. They just didn't know yet how right they were. Dr. Sarah Chen's laboratory aboard the International Space Station wasn't much larger than a storage closet, but its window offered the best view in human space. Earth hung below like a marble of blue and white, while her latest experiment floated in a containment field before her. The captured Vraxian signal patterns, recorded during the diplomatic mission, pulsed with an eerie purple glow. Running test sequence 47, she spoke into her recorder, adjusting the field's frequency. Continuing analysis of the signal's interaction with various neural tissue samples. The coffee cup at her workstation began to vibrate, its surface rippling in concentric circles. Sarah paused, her hand hovering over the control panel. According to all her instruments, the containment field was stable, yet something was causing a resonance effect she hadn't seen in previous tests. Computer, analyze vibration pattern against known frequencies, she commanded, reaching for a neural scanner. The device hummed to life, its display showing rapid calculations. Match found, the computer responded. Vibration corresponds to human theta wave patterns during states of extreme focus or meditation. Sarah's eyes widened. She had been studying the signal's effects on neural tissue, but she hadn't considered examining its resonance with everyday objects. The coffee cup was made of a unique polymer developed for space station use, one that happened to share several structural similarities with human brain matter. Computer, overlay signal pattern with human neural mapping from last week's control group. The holographic display filled with two overlapping waveforms, where other species' brains showed catastrophic disruption when exposed to the Vraxian signal. Human patterns demonstrated something entirely different, a kind of natural dampening effect. Her fingers flew across the console, running simulation after simulation. Each result confirmed her theory. Humanity's unusual neural structure wasn't just resistant to the Vraxian fear signal, it actively processed the energy in a fundamentally different way. The station's emergency alert cut through her concentration. Unidentified vessel detected at system edge. All personnel to alert stations. Sarah secured her samples and rushed to the observation deck. Through the reinforced windows, she could see the ship, its biomechanical design unmistakably Vraxian. Unlike the diplomatic vessels they'd encountered before, this one bristled with weapon arrays. Dr. Chen, Station Commander Martinez's voice came through her comm unit. We're detecting energy signatures similar to your research samples, but several magnitudes stronger. The Vraxian ship moved closer, its hull seemed to pulse with dark energy. Around her, the station's crew worked with practiced efficiency, but Sarah could see the tension in their movements. They all knew what these ships meant to other species. Commander, she called out, pulling up her latest test results. I need emergency clearance to broadcast my findings to Earth Defense Command. There's something they need to see. The commander's authorization came through instantly. Sarah transmitted her discovery. Detailed scans showing how human neural patterns naturally converted the Vraxian terror signal into something less harmful. More importantly, her data suggested this ability could be artificially enhanced. Multiple ships detected, the station's AI announced. Vraxian signature confirmed. Estimated arrival time, 6 hours. Sarah watched the tactical display as more enemy vessels appeared at the system's edge. Her discovery might offer humanity a defense, but they needed time to develop it. Time they might not have. Her computer pinged with a priority message from Earth Defense Command. Project Nightingale initiated. Dr. Chen, your presence is required planetside immediately. As she hurried to the emergency show, Sarah clutched her data tablet containing 18 hours of revolutionary research. The coffee cup that had started it all floated forgotten in her lab, still vibrating to an alien frequency that had just changed the course of human history. Deep within the lunar shipyards, the UES Nightingale hung suspended in a web of construction beams. Her sleek hull, once gleaming with standard military chrome, now absorbed light like a black hole. Teams of engineers swarmed around her modified frame, their plasma torches casting blue-white flares against the darkness of space. Dr. Sarah Chen watched from the observation deck as they installed the final components of her design. The ship's core, visible through temporarily exposed sections of hull plating, pulsed with a soft purple glow, the same frequency as her coffee cup had displayed just days ago. "Will it work?" Admiral James Harrison asked, standing beside her. His weathered face reflected in the reinforced glass, showing the strain of sleepless nights. "The simulations are promising," Sarah replied, bringing up a holographic display. "We've modified the Vraxian signal technology to amplify human emotional states instead of fear. The challenge wasn't the technology, it was finding the right crew." Below them, a shuttle docked with the Nightingale, bringing another group of carefully selected personnel. Each crew member had been chosen for their unique psychological profile. Individuals with exceptional emotional resilience and unusually strong empathic abilities. "Speaking of crew," Harrison said, "Lieutenant Commander Marcus Wong is here for his final evaluation." A young officer entered the observation deck, his posture perfect, but his eyes betraying amazement at the sight of the modified warship. Sarah had personally reviewed his file, highest scores ever recorded in emotional stability tests, plus combat experience. "Dr. Admiral," Marcus saluted. "The ship looks different than I expected." Sarah gestured to a neural interface station. "Would you mind demonstrating why you were chosen, Commander?" Marcus stepped onto the testing platform without hesitation. As the neural scanners activated, his vital signs appeared on nearby screens. Sarah initiated the test sequence, a low-power version of the Vraxian fear signal. The commander's readings remained remarkably stable, where most humans showed mild discomfort and other species experienced paralyzing terror. Marcus displayed something else entirely. His brain patterns actively transformed the incoming signal. "Extraordinary," Sarah murmured, adjusting the controls. "You're not just resisting the signal, you're instinctively converting it. This is exactly what we need for the bridge crew." A priority alert flashed across their screens. The Vraxian fleet had breached the outer system defense line. Earth's conventional forces were engaged in delaying actions, but they couldn't hold for long. "How soon can the Nightingale be ready?" Harrison demanded, already reaching for his command tablet. Sarah studied the completion estimates. "The hardware is nearly finished, but we need at least 12 hours to calibrate the emotional amplification matrix. Without proper calibration, we could end up broadcasting random emotional noise instead of focused human resilience." "We have 8 hours at most," Harrison countered, bringing up tactical displays showing the advancing Vraxian ships. "They're moving faster than we anticipated." Marcus stepped off the testing platform, his expression determined. "What if we calibrated the system while completing the final hardware installations? The crew could begin neural synchronization during the process." Sarah considered the risks. Running both processes simultaneously could be dangerous, but they were out of options. It's possible, but it would put enormous strain on the crew. The neural feedback alone could be overwhelming. "We'll do it," Marcus stated firmly. The Admiral nodded in agreement. Within minutes, the observation deck transformed into an emergency command center. As Sarah coordinated the technical teams, Marcus began assembling his bridge crew. Each chosen officer would need to synchronize with the ship's emotional amplification matrix, while engineers raced to complete the physical systems. Through the window, Earth hung like a blue jewel against the black velvet of space. Somewhere out there, the Vraxian fleet approached, confident in their ability to subjugate humanity as they had countless species before. They had no idea what was waiting for them. The Nightingale emerged from the shadow of Luna, its modified hull absorbing nearby starlight. On the bridge, Lieutenant Commander Marcus Wong settled into the captain's chair, feeling the neural interface activate with a gentle hum. Around him, his carefully selected crew synchronized with their stations, each mind connecting to the ship's emotional amplification matrix. "Final systems check," he ordered, his voice steady despite the weight of humanity's future resting on their mission. "Dr. Chen, how's our core reading?" From her station behind the bridge, Sarah monitored the pulsing heart of their experimental weapon. "The matrix is stable," Crew neural patterns are harmonizing better than expected. We're as ready as we'll ever be. The tactical display flickered with new contacts. The Vraxian fleet had arrived. 7 massive dreadnoughts, their biomechanical hulls writhing with dark energy. Behind them, smaller escort ships moved into attack formation. They're broadcasting, Communications Officer Lynn reported, her fingers dancing across her console. Full spectrum, including their standard fear frequency. Marcus felt the signal wash over him. A mild pressure behind his eyes, nothing more. Around the bridge, his crew showed similar resistance, their training and natural abilities protecting them from the alien influence. "Open a channel," he commanded. "Let's see if they're willing to talk first." The main view screen illuminated with the image of the Vraxian fleet commander. Its chrome-plated exoskeleton gleamed under harsh internal lighting, all 4 optical sensors focused intently on Marcus. "Unauthorized vessel," the alien's harmonious voice carried an edge of surprise. "Your presence is noted. Our scans indicate significant modifications to your hull and systems." "Explain." Marcus straightened in his chair. "This is Lieutenant Commander Marcus Wong of the UES Nightingale. We are here to negotiate terms for the immediate withdrawal of Vraxian forces from Earth space." A sound like crystalline wind chimes emerged from the Vraxian, their equivalent of laughter. Brave words from a single ship. "Perhaps our standard protocols are malfunctioning. Let us adjust the signal strength." The tactical officer's console blazed with warnings as the Vraxian fleet amplified their fear broadcast. In orbit around Earth, conventional warships began reporting system failures as their crews struggled against the enhanced terror effect. But aboard the Nightingale, something very different was happening. "Matrix is accepting the increased power," Sarah reported excitedly. "It's actually helping us calibrate our own system. We can use their signal as a carrier wave for our broadcast." Marcus felt it, the ship's neural interface growing stronger, more focused. Each crew member's emotional state fed into the matrix, their combined resilience and determination building like a wave about to break. "You should feel fear," the Vraxian commander stated, its sensors contracting in confusion. "Why do you not feel fear?" "Because humanity has a different response to those who would rule through terror," Marcus replied, nodding to Sarah. "We stand together. Now." Sarah activated the emotional amplification matrix. The Nightingale's core flared brilliant white, broadcasting not fear, but the combined courage, hope, and determination of its human crew. The signal rode the Vraxians' own carrier wave, reaching every ship in their fleet. The effect was instantaneous. Across the enemy fleet, enslaved crew members from dozens of subjugated species began to shake off their psychological chains. Warning lights flashed on their bridge as reports flooded in. Ships dropping out of formation, weapons powering down, shields failing. "What have you done?" the Vraxian commander demanded, its harmonious voice cracking with static. "We're showing you a better way," Marcus answered, watching as the first Vraxian escort ships began to break ranks. "Fear isn't the only force that can unite the galaxy. It's not even the strongest one." The battle for Earth was about to begin, but the real revolution, the one taking place in hearts and minds across the Vraxian fleet, had already been won. The space around Earth erupted into chaos as the Nightingale's broadcast rippled through the Vraxian fleet. Dr. Sarah Chen watched her instruments in amazement as the emotional amplification matrix exceeded all projected parameters, its influence spreading further with each passing moment. Multiple ships breaking formation. Tactical Officer Rodriguez reported, her hand steady on her console despite the streams of data flooding in. 3? No, 5 escort vessels are powering down their weapons. Their crews are. They're fighting back against their Vraxian commanders. Lieutenant Commander Marcus Wong leaned forward in his command chair, the neural interface humming with increased activity. "Focus our broadcast on the liberated ships. Let's show them they're not alone anymore." The Nightingale's core pulsed brighter, its modified systems channeling the crew's combined emotional strength. On the main view screen, They watched as crew members from dozens of species began to overcome generations of conditioned fear. Incoming transmission, Communications Officer Lynn announced, her voice tight with excitement. It's from one of the escort ships. Audio only. A new voice filled the bridge, trembling but determined. This is Subcommander Zex of the formerly Vraxian vessel Light of Dawn. We can think clearly for the first time in generations. How is this possible? Marcus exchanged glances with Sarah before responding. Your neural patterns have been permanently altered by our broadcast. The fear conditioning that held you captive is breaking down. You're free to choose your own path now. The Vraxian flagship's response was immediate and brutal. Its massive hull writhed as weapon ports opened, targeting its own rebellious escort ships with devastating energy beams. Two of the smaller vessels erupted into flames before they could raise their shields. They're going to destroy their own fleet rather than lose control, Rodriguez warned. The dreadnoughts are powering up their main weapons. Sarah's fingers flew across her console as she made rapid adjustments to the matrix. If we modulate our broadcast frequency to match their weapon's energy signature, we might be able to. She never finished her sentence. The Vraxian flagship fired, its beam heading straight for the Nightingale. But as the energy approached, something extraordinary happened. The ship's emotional broadcast interacted with the weapon's frequency, causing it to disperse in a brilliant display of coruscating light. The Matrix is absorbing their energy, Sarah exclaimed. It's converting their attacks into more power for our broadcast. The very weapons they built on fear are amplifying our signal of hope. Across the battlefield, more ships began to break free. The Nightingale's influence spread exponentially, carried by the Vraxians' own attempts to destroy it. Each attack only served to strengthen the liberation of their enslaved crews. Warning, Rodriguez called out. The remaining dreadnoughts are moving into a containment formation. They're trying to isolate our broadcast. Marcus straightened in his chair. Navigation, take us into their formation. Let's show them what humanity does in the face of intimidation. The Nightingale surged forward, its black hull now gleaming with absorbed energy. Around them, freed ships began to form their own defensive screen, protecting Earth's lone vessel as it drove deeper into enemy lines. From her station, Sarah watched in wonder as her instruments recorded something unprecedented. The freed crew's neural patterns weren't just resistant to the fear broadcast anymore. They were developing their own unique resonance, amplifying and reflecting the Nightingale's signal of courage and hope. Multiple Vraxian commanders requesting surrender terms, Lynn reported, her voice cracking with emotion. They say they've never seen anything like this. Marcus nodded, feeling the combined determination of his crew through the neural interface. Tell them we accept their surrender, and let them know that this is just the beginning. The galaxy is about to remember what it means to be truly free. Above Earth, the battle was ending. But across the stars, a new symphony of courage was just beginning to play. The trading outpost on Centauri Prime buzzed with activity as merchants from 100 worlds gathered to exchange goods and, more importantly, information. In a shadowy corner of the bustling marketplace, a hooded figure activated a small holographic projector. The image that appeared showed a sleek black ship absorbing energy from Vraxian weapons, its hull gleaming with transformed power. They say it happened in the Sol system, the merchant whispered to his rapt audience. One human ship against an entire Vraxian fleet. The fear signals just stopped working. Dr. Sarah Chen, wearing civilian clothes and monitoring from nearby, smiled quietly as she watched the recording spread. She had seen countless versions of it now, each slightly different, but all carrying the same core truth. Hope was contagious. Her communicator vibrated with an encrypted message from the Nightingale. Lieutenant Commander Marcus Wong's voice came through clear but urgent. Sarah, we're tracking unprecedented neural pattern changes across 3 sectors. Your theory was right. It's not just spreading, it's evolving. She ducked into a quiet alley, pulling up the data on her specialized tablet. The freed species weren't just passing on stories. Their changed neural patterns were influencing others through normal social interaction. The Vraxians' own communication network had become a carrier for the cure to their fear control. The Dominion is trying to lock down all interstellar communications, a new voice announced. Sarah turned to find Sub-Commander Zex, now a vital ally, emerging from the shadows. His formerly Vraxian ship had become one of their most effective information carriers. But they're too late. Every attempt at censorship only makes people more curious. In the marketplace, the crowd around the hologram had grown. Species that had been enemies under Vraxian control now stood shoulder to shoulder, watching the Nightingale transform terror into triumph. Sarah noticed how they unconsciously moved closer together, their natural empathy reawakening after generations of suppression. "They're calling it the liberation signal," Zex continued, his multifaceted eyes reflecting the hologram's light. "Our scientists have confirmed it permanently alters neural pathways. Even brief exposure makes individuals resistant to the fear broadcast. The Vraxians can't undo it." Sarah's tablet chimed with new data. The neural pattern changes were accelerating geometrically. Each freed individual became a carrier of hope, their very presence helping to break down the conditioning in others. It was like watching a galaxy-wide immune system activate against a long-term infection. "The Vraxian High Command has issued new orders." Marcus's voice returned through the encrypted channel. "They're mobilizing their reserve fleets. Every available dreadnought is being recalled to defend their core systems." "Let them gather their ships," Sarah replied, watching as another group of merchants began sharing the recording. "They don't understand yet. This isn't a war they can win with weapons anymore." The marketplace erupted in cheers as the hologram showed the moment of the Vraxian flagship's surrender. Species that had lived in terror for generations were witnessing proof that their oppressors could be defeated. More importantly, they were learning that fear itself could be overcome. "Message from Earth Command," Marcus updated. "They're detecting massive fleet movements along the outer territories. The Vraxians are abandoning their frontier outposts, pulling back to defensible positions." Sarah shared a knowing look with Zex. The Vraxian Dominion was doing exactly what they expected, responding to a psychological revolution with physical force. They still hadn't grasped that their greatest weapon had become their greatest weakness. "They think they can contain this," Zex observed, watching another group of merchants download copies of the recording. "They don't realize that every transmission, every conversation, every shared story carries the liberation signal forward. We don't need weapons anymore. We just need to keep spreading the truth." Above them, ships from dozens of worlds prepared to depart, each carrying tales of the Nightingale and its gift of freedom. The whispers were becoming a chorus, and soon they would become a symphony that would shake the stars themselves. The Vraxian home system blazed with the combined light of 1,000 warships. Their reserve fleet, assembled from the furthest reaches of their territory, formed a massive defensive sphere around their central worlds. At the heart of this armada, the High Command gathered for what they knew would be their final attempt to maintain control. "The human vessel approaches," announced the Grand Overseer, its chrome-plated form towering over the others. "This time, we will not underestimate it." Aboard the Nightingale, Lieutenant Commander Marcus Wong studied the tactical display with quiet determination. Behind him, Dr. Sarah Chen monitored the enhanced emotional matrix, its power now amplified by weeks of refinement and the combined hope of countless freed worlds. "Their fleet formation is specifically designed to disrupt our broadcast pattern," Sarah observed, her fingers dancing across her console. "They've been studying us." Marcus nodded, feeling the steady confidence of his crew through the neural interface. "They've learned, but so have we. How many ships in the outer sphere are already showing signs of neural pattern changes?" 30% and rising, Tactical Officer Rodriguez reported. "The freed crews we brought with us are affecting their formation just by being in proximity. They can't maintain their fear-based control without cutting off communication entirely." The Vraxian flagship's transmission cut through their discussion. "Human vessel," the Grand Overseer's harmonious voice carried none of its usual warmth. "You have disrupted the natural order. Our control ensures peace. Without it, the galaxy will descend into chaos. Your peace was built on terror, Marcus replied, signaling Sarah to prepare their enhanced broadcast. We're offering something stronger, genuine unity through shared courage. The Vraxian response came in the form of a massive energy wave. Every ship in their fleet fired simultaneously, creating a wall of destructive force that would have annihilated a conventional battle group. But the Nightingale was far from conventional. Matrix at full power, Sarah announced as the wave approached. Every attack they've launched against us has helped us perfect our wavelength. This is going to be interesting. The energy struck the Nightingale's modified hull, and something extraordinary happened. Instead of being absorbed or deflected, the blast was transformed. The ship's emotional amplification matrix took the raw power of the Vraxian attack and converted it into the largest liberation signal yet broadcast. Neural pattern changes accelerating throughout their fleet. Rodriguez reported, her voice rising with excitement. The energy wave is carrying our signal back to them. Their own weapons are becoming our transmission network. Through the neural interface, Marcus felt the ripple effect as ship after ship broke free from Vraxian control. The liberation signal, strengthened by the very power meant to destroy it, reached deep into the heart of the Dominion's fleet. Even the most loyal Vraxian crews found their fear-based control systems failing as the wave of hope washed over them. They're experiencing what we call the echo effect, Sarah explained, watching her instruments in amazement. Each freed mind becomes a reflector, amplifying and retransmitting the signal. Their tight formation is actually helping it spread faster. On the main screen, they watched as the massive Vraxian fleet began to break apart. Ships peeled away from their defensive sphere, their crews awakening to freedom for the first time. The liberation signal had become self-sustaining, each newly freed vessel adding its own unique resonance to the broadcast. Grand Overseer, Marcus transmitted, your weapons can't stop an idea. You can't control a galaxy that has remembered how to hope. The response came not from the Vraxian leadership, but from their own crews. Ship by ship, the mighty reserve fleet transformed from a tool of oppression into a force for liberation. The Nightingale's mission hadn't just succeeded, it had catalyzed a transformation that would reshape galactic civilization. As the last Vraxian dreadnoughts powered down their weapons, Sarah's instruments detected something unexpected, a new kind of neural pattern emerging from the combination of so many freed minds. The galaxy wasn't just being liberated, it was evolving into something entirely new. 1 year after the fall of the Vraxian Dominion, the Galactic Assembly's central chamber looked vastly different. Gone were the tension-filled silences and fearful glances. Species that had once been enemies now worked together, their neural patterns permanently altered to resist fear-based control. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the podium where the Vraxian Overseer had once sat, presenting her findings to representatives from across the galaxy. Behind her, a hologram showed the spread of the liberation signal, now known as the Hope Wave, through thousands of star systems. The transformation continues to evolve, she explained, highlighting clusters of synchronized neural patterns. As more minds connect without fear, we're seeing the emergence of what we call resonant empathy, the ability to share emotional strengths across species barriers. Lieutenant Commander Marcus Wong, recently promoted to Admiral, watched from his seat among Earth's delegation. The Nightingale's original crew had become legendary, but they understood that their greatest achievement wasn't military victory. It was catalyzing a fundamental change in galactic society. The former Vraxian worlds are reporting remarkable progress, announced Sub-Commander Zex, now serving as head of the Rehabilitation Council. Their species is experiencing emotion without the filter of control technology for the first time in their recorded history. Many are choosing to work alongside those they once subjugated, learning what it means to connect through understanding rather than fear. The Assembly Hall's central display shifted to show the Nightingale in its new role. The revolutionary ship now served as a mobile research and healing center, visiting worlds still dealing with the psychological aftermath of generations of fear-based control. Its modified systems have been adapted to help species recover their natural emotional responses. We've confirmed that the neural changes are hereditary, Sarah continued, bringing up detailed genetic scans. Future generations will be born naturally resistant to fear-based control. But more importantly, they'll inherit this enhanced capacity for interspecies empathy. We're not just ending an era of control, we're beginning an age of unprecedented cooperation. As if to demonstrate her point, the chamber's various environmental fields began to synchronize. Species that once required isolation due to biological incompatibility found their containment systems naturally harmonizing, allowing closer interaction than ever before. The Hope Wave had done more than free minds. It had begun breaking down the physical barriers between species. The Nightingale Memorial Academy opens next month, Marcus announced, standing to address the assembly. We'll be training crews from all species in the principles of emotional resonance and cooperative defense. The Academy's first class includes former Vraxian officers studying alongside representatives from worlds they once controlled. The chamber erupted in approving sounds from 100 different species. The Academy would ensure that the lessons learned from humanity's stand against fear would never be forgotten. Each graduate would carry the story of how a single ship's courage had changed the galaxy. Sarah's instruments picked up something remarkable during the applause. The combined emotional response of the gathered species was creating new patterns in the Hope Wave. The neural changes weren't stopping with simple resistance to fear. They were opening pathways to forms of consciousness no one had imagined possible. We stand at the beginning of a new era, she concluded, watching the patterns dance across her display. The Vraxians thought they could control the galaxy through fear, but they helped us discover something far more powerful, the strength we find in supporting each other. Every attempt they made to suppress us only made that strength grow stronger. As the session ended, representatives from worlds that had been bitter enemies under Vraxian rule left together, their conversations flowing freely across translated frequencies. Outside the chamber, the Nightingale prepared for another healing mission, its black hull now adorned with symbols of hope from 1,000 worlds. The Age of Fear had ended not with a devastating war, but with a transformation no one had predicted. Humanity's gift to the galaxy hadn't been superior firepower or advanced technology. It had been the simple, powerful reminder that hope, shared among many, could overcome any darkness.